Hello everyone, I'm here with Loukman Nasik, who's a friend of ours, the creator of the whole Marrakech project that we're currently living. Entrepreneur who's come from here in Morocco. So I thought he would be the perfect person to talk to about Morocco as a place for digital nomads, get him to share a little bit about his story as well, and recap the Marrakech project, as we like to call it. And yeah, sort of our experience in Morocco over the last month. So thanks so much for joining me, Loukman.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. So why don't you go into your bit of your story to share with the audience a bit about yourself? How'd you get started in sort of the online world and digital nomading and stuff like that?
I've been on the online world since I was 17. I've been working just online. I started as a designer and then started learning some basic programming skill, went to a marketing school and started my own company when I was 21. I was doing consulting back then and started my first startup, which is the current startup I'm working on, Bounceless, around 1.5 years ago. And I started nomading now for 15 months or 14 months, I think.
Okay.
Took my first flight ticket from Morocco, February 2016.
Actually, that's pretty much the same time as I started leaving
Awesome.
Australia. It was late January 2016. So around the same time we've been doing this for. But before that, had you traveled outside of Morocco much? Or?
Yeah, of course. I've traveled to Asia, to the Middle East. I've been to Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon, Bali, Hong Kong, Malaysia before.
Okay.
And when I started nomading, I went for these countries as well. So for the last year, I've been traveling around Southeast Asia. I started with Bali, then Malaysia, then Thailand, Philippines, Hong Kong, South Korea.
Wow, you've been around a few places.
Yeah, I would say I've been benchmarking what are like the best cities or countries where I can stay for a long period.
Yeah.
And I would say like after 1 year of traveling, I found out that the perfect place for me was like Koh Lanta and Bali. These are the places where I like the lifestyle, I was productive, internet is good, co-working space is good, coffee shops, yeah.
Better than Morocco, huh?
I wouldn't say like, I don't know, like
for your particular lifestyle.
For my, like, I found a better lifestyle in these countries than the lifestyle I'm having here. But like, I'm sure if you don't live in Morocco and you come here, you're gonna definitely enjoy the lifestyle here. Okay. It's because I've been living here for 24 years, you know. Yeah. So even if the place has the perfect lifestyle, you just get bored, you know.
Well, actually, I want to talk about Morocco as a digital nomad destination because there's not a lot of information online about it, and I certainly had no idea about Morocco before I got here. Let's recap what we've done on this project. We've been in Marrakech for a month, but we've pretty much gone away every single weekend. Yeah. We've been to Rabat to see you play as a set on a boat party. That was a crazy day and a crazy night. Yeah. We've been to well, you weren't joining us. Just a small group of us went to Essaouira, and then I checked out Taghazout. And then last weekend we did this massive desert trip, passed through Ouarzazate, Tinghir, and ended up in the Sahara Desert. Incredible experience, and we're all still recovering from that huge weekend. Yeah. But in terms of all the locations we've been, would you definitely say that Marrakech is the best for digital nomads?
I would say it's the best city in terms of lifestyle, you know? I don't know, like, as a digital nomad, in certain periods of the year, I look for cities where there is less lifestyle, where I can have more productivity. Yeah. When I can afford distractions, I love being in cities with a lot of interactions with people, cool spots. I love to go out a lot, and I don't know. It depends on your objectives, you know. As a nomad, it's a city that would work for anyone, but it depends on your priorities. Like when I want to really work and just hustle and do nothing fun, I just go to Koh Lanta and spend months there and be productive, work 14, 13 hours a day. When I can't afford distractions and I want to have like some fun, I can afford going to places where I'm not going to be 100% productive, you know?
Yeah, and I think this is probably something that people who haven't started living this lifestyle and sort of taking their work on the road don't necessarily realize is maybe they see the pictures of like, I don't know, partying and the beaches and stuff, and they think, oh, that's it. Like, if I'm going to be a digital nomad, I want to be in these places, but they're full of distractions.
Exactly. Yeah, like I enjoyed my Koh Lanta experience and the Koh Hub, we were working just like 2 minutes walk from the beach.
Yeah.
It was a good experience for me because the community there, it's really, it's a good community, and whenever you want to take a break, it's just 2 minute walk and you are on the beach, you can have a drink, you can have lunch there and just go back and crush it.
And so I guess Marrakech for you, I know that you kind of pushed down your schedule a little bit with Marrakech and kind of gave yourself a bit more free time. But for somebody who's getting stuck into their work, there's a few of us in the group who work full time, and I know they've struggled a little bit with the situation, especially with the internet. Let's start with the internet. It's I put out a Facebook vlog just recently about my journey trying to find good internet in Marrakech.
And apparently it's in this place that we have the best internet in Marrakech.
Yeah, and the strange thing was we're here at the Source right now, which is this hotel, resort, pool bar here. And this is actually where I found the best internet in all of Marrakech, which is so weird. You were saying that in the Medina, they can't necessarily get the best internet in there because of the walls and how old it is.
Exactly, it's because of the infrastructure. It's the old city. It's not like there is no infrastructure where they can like get the cables for the fiber optic and everything. So definitely if you are living in a modern area in the city, you can get good internet and fiber optic internet, I mean.
Okay.
But in the Medina, like I called the provider to get like the maximum, and the maximum was like 12 megabytes. Which is not great if you are living with 10 nomads that uses internet more than 8 hours a day.
Yeah, and then uploads, particularly for me who does video, I haven't been able to get anywhere apart from here to get more than 1 megabit up. So that's been kind of tough for me. But even in the modern part of town, I've found that co-working spaces and even coffee shops haven't been the best. Maybe I just need to do a bit more exploring in that area.
Definitely there are like coffee shops where you can work and get stuff done, but you should know that like we don't have a coffee shop work culture in the country. So coffee shops and establishments don't have like the necessary requirements for work outside of home. Because we don't have like a remote work or a nomad culture in the country. I think the first time I heard about nomads in Morocco was like in Tarazout. Many startups and nomads goes there to bootstrap because there are no distractions. It's a small fisherman town. But even there, they had struggled with the internet back then because it's the same problem as living in the Medina, you know? Whenever you are in somewhere remote, the providers cannot provide the infrastructures to get good internet to that place since there isn't enough demand. But since like the main interest for nomads, for newbie nomads, it's to get somewhere where they can live cheap and have a good lifestyle, I would definitely recommend Morocco, and I think it's an underrated country because most people don't know about it. And they don't think that they can get work done here, and they don't know that it's a safe country. So, especially for Europeans, you know? Europeans go to Thailand to live cheap and have internet and work remotely, while there is a country which is less than $100 just here in North Africa where they can get work done and live cheap and have a good lifestyle as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like there are... Morocco is interesting because it's got some of the characteristics, I would say, of a great digital nomad destination, but then other ones where it's really lacking in. Like you said, there's hardly any nomad culture whatsoever, and the coffee shops here are completely different to what I'm used to. there's stools and like rugs and
Yeah.
and like small glasses and it's not like it's nothing like coffee shops anywhere else I've been to, and you can just tell by walking into them. It's like, okay, nobody works out of this place.
This
you
is
know?
a place where you can drink a coffee and leave.
Yeah. And in terms of co-working as well, it's a bit lacking.
Yeah, it's a bit lacking. Like co-working spaces started popping up last 3 years, I think, in Rabat and Casablanca, where there are like a lot of freelancers and remote workers. Like, definitely you wouldn't encounter this kind of issues you had here in Marrakech if you were in Casablanca or Rabat.
Yeah.
But you have to compromise for the lifestyle.
Yeah.
So I think you can find just like the balance wherever you go, and depends on your priorities and what you are looking for. If you don't mind living in a hectic city like Bangkok, you are not gonna hate Casablanca, you know? But for me, I love quiet places, I love islands, I love small places, I love villages where I can have a good lifestyle and good internet and be productive as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that Morocco I found is I guess the best part of the whole Moroccan experience for me is we've been to some really interesting places, and there's so much contrast in Morocco, and it's very interesting. Like, just I remember getting off the plane and just arriving, coming into the Medina, and I was just like in awe, like, and just coming into Jamal Al Fana, the square. It's a culture shock. There's people with snake charming, so many juice stands. I don't know how there's so many juice stands. People selling watches, people selling all kinds of things. So it's definitely like a very cultural, interesting experience to come to Morocco. Yeah. But in terms of being highly productive, maybe you need to go to somewhere with the better infrastructure like Casablanca or Rabat, but the problem going there is just you're still in a city environment.
And honestly, what I would say, like, I think we encountered like this internet problem because we were like so many nomads in the same place.
Yeah.
But when you are traveling by your own and you find that underrated coffee shop where nobody's using internet, you can definitely work from there and get stuff done. So I think the perspective from which we've all seen Marrakech during this month, it's not gonna be the same from a solo nomad, solo traveler, you know? Yeah, it's gonna be completely different. Like, you don't have to go to Casablanca or Rabat to get a better infrastructure, but I think if you were by your own here in Marrakech, you're gonna definitely find a place where you can find everything you need.
Okay. All right, well, in this video, I wanna address all the major concerns that nomads would have. And I guess one of the concerns I have, which is had before I came, which I guess is like an ignorant concern that a lot of new travelers have when they're looking at a new place. I'm not a new traveler, but Morocco was so different to me, is safety. And you've told me some pretty interesting things about the safety here in terms of how the government's really protecting tourists and foreigners.
Yeah, of course.
So there's no, just maybe talk a little bit about that and why people shouldn't be worried about safety. Or what they need to do to be safe in Morocco.
The fun story, when I met Dylan the first time and we were talking about Morocco, he just went to this government website, Australian website, and he checked and he was like, oh, Morocco is not safe. I was like, seriously? Your government is putting like Morocco is not safe? This is not cool, man. You have to come down. Then I was even more motivated to, like, especially for Dylan. He was so skeptical about Morocco. Yeah. And Morocco is a safe country, like, and like, especially in the region, like, compared to what's happening in North Africa, the Middle East, Central Africa and everything. I would say it's the safest country in the region.
Yeah.
The regime is so stable. For sure, you are not gonna encounter any, like, I've been to places in Asia that were less safe than here.
Yeah.
And I would definitely say you're not gonna have any kind of problem here. Yeah. Like, I got robbed in Bali twice, and
really? In Bali?
Yeah, I got robbed in Bali twice in 3 days in a row. Yeah. So I don't think this is something you're gonna encounter as a foreigner in Morocco. And Marrakech, I would say, like, Marrakech, maybe it's the safest place ever in the country.
But you were telling me something crazy, that the government's protecting foreigners even more than the locals.
Of course, because if you're gonna hear on the Australian news that something bad happened to an Australian who was here, you're not gonna come here.
Yeah.
But if something happened to a local, you will never hear about that. So we're trying to protect tourism and protecting the image of Morocco.
Nice. Okay, let's see, what are the other things that you need to consider? I actually wrote down a little bit of a list.
Yeah, sure. Like you should consider internet. We had problems with the internet.
Yeah.
And I would say like the main barrier you would have as a nomad is language, because our first language is Arabic, second language is French.
Yeah.
And why I would recommend Marrakech is because there are so many English-speaking people compared to the other cities, since it's the most touristic city in the country.
Yeah. Yeah, I've actually had to crack out my French numerous times here in Morocco, but I've enjoyed it because I studied French in high school and I haven't had a chance to practice it. I've had to use French as like my only option sometimes. So it's been good to kind of push me in that direction. It hasn't worked out sometimes.
It was funny.
Yeah, it was funny. I guess an interesting thing about yourself is that you are from Morocco and you don't, well, I haven't personally met many Moroccans who are digital nomads. And so, you know, a lot of people are coming from Europe to Morocco, but you're the opposite. You've grew up in Morocco and decided to leave and travel the world. Why is it so uncommon to see a Moroccan like as a digital nomad, and what made you kind of leave Morocco and decide to be nomadic?
I would say like most of digital nomads I met, either from North America, Europe, or Australia, like one of their biggest motive was the cost of living. They were trying to live cheaper than their home countries and still have a good lifestyle. I didn't have this reason because the cost of living here is cheap, and I've been spending even more when I was in Asia than what I'm spending here. So I can say I was looking for a change and to discover new cultures. And like when we were talking about this culture shock, when you guys came here first, it was the same thing for me when I first went to Asia. For me, like I saw so many things that were shocking. I was like, whoa, you know, it's just a matter of perspective. It's just a matter of perspective, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
But sorry.
So on the cost of living, for people that are concerned, because that is a big concern for a lot of people. Yeah, it is quite affordable here, but you can definitely spend money if you want to spend money.
Yeah, exactly. Like Marrakech specifically, it's a luxury place, but it's not exclusively luxury. Like you can get food for $2, for $1, and you can have a lunch for $300, $500. You know, it's for everyone. Yeah. So there are fancy places here, and there are cheap places for budget travelers. Like it's a city for everyone. Like, and transportation is cheap, food is cheap. Like you visited this country, so you should tell me about the cost of living.
My experience with Marrakech personally has been, it's kind of, I feel like it's a tourist kind of hub. It almost reminds me a bit, not in terms of culture, but in terms of tourism, Bali, because Indonesia is an inexpensive country, right? But when you go to Bali, there's all this tourism around. It's almost a little bit harder to live like a local.
Exactly.
I've found
it lifts up your standards a little bit when you are in Bali or in Marrakech. Like if you were in Thailand, like you live just a normal life, you know. But like you noticed, the month we spent here, it's not the same way we spend our time back in Southeast Asia. So when you are in Marrakech, you treat yourself. You know, because it's in such a city where you can treat yourself. You cannot treat yourself in Chiang Mai. You know, it's not the right place to treat yourself.
And I've been caught on camera saying that Chiang Mai is boring, and maybe that got taken out of context. But what I mean is, like, Chiang Mai is a great place for me to be productive because there's no distractions and you can just live like a local. But I guess on the flip side, it's nice to have sort of locations that are a little bit more touristy, like here in Bali, as a nomad for when you want to let loose a bit and kind of live somewhere between vacation and
exactly. It's good to have that like once or twice a year, you know. The rest of the year you're productive, living like a routine every day and trying to balance your life. But I think from time to time you have to treat yourself, and if you want to treat yourself, Marrakech, it's definitely one of the perfect spots you can come to treat yourself. It's perfect.
Excellent. I think we should wrap it up there now that we've sold Marrakech. But yeah, thanks so much for coming on and talking about Marrakech and Morocco.
I'm really glad that I have you all guys here. Like this is an amazing story that I will never forget.
Oh yeah, us too. It's been a crazy experience. And for you guys watching, if you have any questions about Morocco or want to add anything to what we've talked about in terms of your experience here and any concerns that you have maybe, let me know in the comments below, and if I don't know the answer, I can ask somebody.
To help.
Yeah, we can ask Loukman or something. So yeah, get involved if you want to know anything about Morocco. Let's clear up everything to do with this country.
And let's make it the first nomad destination in Africa.
Yeah, I think it's there's not much going on in Africa. So Morocco is probably leading in that area.
We made the test.
Yeah.
It's a proof of concept.
Awesome.
Yeah, cool.
All right, thanks for watching, guys. I
you.
will see you on the next video. Cool. Do you feel good about that?
I don't know.